February 18th. It's about 40 degrees right now. And it's been dipping below freezing at night and above freezing during the day. We had several inches of snow last week, but it's all melted. Sun's peeking out a little bit. But this winter in this area this year has been very mild. Wet but mild. We're out here today that we're going to learn how to or attempt to do our own make our own maple syrup. We're out here today to tap some maple trees that we marked last fall. We have some sugar maple, not a whole lot around the immediate area here. We do have a lot of red maple, and we did tag those or mark those. So I know they don't produce as much sugar, and it's not as sweet as a sugar maple tree, but we're gonna mix the two and hopefully get some good maple syrup out of it. And we'll probably be doing this for the next couple weeks. So hopefully you enjoy the video. Again, I just want to stress this is a learning experience. We've never done this before, but we're really excited about it. Okay, we have some of our equipment here that we're going to be using. First, to tap the trees, we need a drill bit, 7/16. Unfortunately, I don't have a 7/16 drill bit. I have 3/8, which is pretty close, but not quite. Although it's a long shaft here, so I'm going to try that on one tree and see how that works, if I can do that correctly, or just use this one, and we'll just do it by trial and error. Hammer to tap the spile, I believe it's called, or spout. This will let the sap run from the tree. We have 10 of them here, and see if I can zoom in. We have 10 of them here, 10 of these, and 10 bags to collect them. They're 2-gallon bags, so hopefully that'll work. I ordered some other plastic taps. They're a little smaller and they're less I guess they're better for the tree, and some tubing, 5/16 plastic tubing, so the sap can run down that tubing into collection buckets, the 5-gallon buckets. So there's two different ways that we're going to collect the sap. One by the 2-gallon bags and hanging these on the tree, and by the tubing. But I probably won't get to that until next week, so that has to come in. Tree has to be 10 inches in diameter at least for one tap, and I think 24 inches for 2 or 3, or 24 inches or larger for 2 or 3. I'm going to measure about by the foot, so I get an idea. This is probably 24-inch tree maybe, but I think I might just tap it. Just put one tap in there. I have one back here that's a little wider. I might tap that twice. I read that the best place to tap, well, the sun's coming from the southwest, so on that side you're gonna get a lot of the sap running through the tree from the roots. And normally, I think what you're supposed to do is say this root here is tap it along where that sap would run through the tree. There's one right here, but I think I'm going to tap that one along here, probably about up to around here, maybe about right here. You bag into the container here, and pull this out. Can you see it? Put the bag through this piece of metal. Then flap it over. You usually flap it over about 2 inches, maybe 1.5 inches. I don't know. It's a little. Just want to make sure it's secure when it sits inside the cap. But we also want to make sure there's enough room in the bag to collect as much sap as possible. But these bags, what we'll do is when the sap is pretty full in these bags, we'll put them into containers and take them back and boil them down. It slides in here, and there's a lip inside this, and if you push it down, it fits snug. There we go. I'm going to pull it snug like that. And then this goes where the spout is, or the spile, I guess it's called. Now it will come up, but once the sap starts collecting in the bag, like we just showed you on the other bag that we checked, the weight of it will just push it down and hold it down. Right now it could easily be, you know, popped up. We'll get my spile out right here. This end goes into the tree, and this is the hook that the bag secures to. We want to put it at an angle. So what I'm going to do is look for this, look for a root that comes up just about here. I'll drill in right here at an angle, about 1.5 inches, 2 inches most max. And I'm slowly bringing it out, so I try to get as much debris out there as I can. Now you can see the sap really starting to flow from this one. This is a red maple, so it's not a sugar maple, and the sap is starting to collect and run very quickly. And it'll do that for a long time. Now, used to be in the old days, a couple hundred years ago, the Indians would collect the sap. They would notch the tree with some sort of sharp instrument before iron and before the settlers came, and they would collect it somehow into bowls that were carved out, or carved logs, and they would collect the sap in these wooden bowls. Well, you couldn't boil it over a fire like you would if you had some sort of cast iron or aluminum or whatever, or steel. So they would get rocks and heat these rocks next to the fire as hot as they can get, and then drop these rocks inside these log bowls that had the sap in it. So the rocks would actually boil the sap down and they would crystallize. So the Indians really didn't have maple syrup. It was more crystallized sugar from the maple tree, so they would eat that as a treat. It wasn't until the settlers came, and with their cast iron pots and things like that, they were able to boil it down and make a syrup out of it instead of it crystallizing. So it's pretty interesting. But there's an old, I'm going to tap this right now. I don't want it to seal. But okay, let's wait a second. It's going to pop out of there very quickly. You can see a little bit of fogginess to it, but then it'll start clearing up. And it's coming out pretty quickly. That's sweet. Pretty good. So we'll get this up, but there's an old Iroquois Indian legend of how they found out about maple syrup. And there we go. Yeah, I'll check back in a couple days. The amount of sap that you need for 1 gallon is 40 gallons of sap to make 1 gallon of maple syrup. We're not a big production here. This is our first time doing this, so it's a learning experience for us down here at camp, and it's gonna be fun. If I can get a pint out of what we have, I'll be happy. But it's the joy of getting out in the great outdoors and learning how to do things and be as self-sufficient as possible. Pioneers tapped maple trees in February and March. Sugar was not available to the pioneers in the log cabins as it was along the coast. From sugarcane, so their alternative was the maple syrup, and that was the sugar that they used. A lot of times families would get together, and that would be a family project. And when there was snow on the ground, the kids would get a scoop of snow, and when the hot syrup was boiled down and ready to go, the kids would pour that over the ice and have kind of like an ice cone with maple sugar, hot maple sugar. And it was a little treat to the pioneers. Well, we're prepping for our maple syruping. This is where we're going to boil down the sap. And we're using this as a wind blocker. Like I said before, it's a 4 mil thickness plastic sheathing, whatever. And instead of putting up a tarp, it will allow some light to get through so we can see, and it'll keep down the wind. This is a red maple. We tapped this on Saturday. It's now Monday, February 20th. And we have definitely over a gallon, probably about 2 gallons worth of sap in this bag. And it's heavy, so it's flowing pretty good, pretty well into here. There's our sap. It's a little bit of ice that formed, but I'm going to take that out. We don't want that ice in there. That's the water freezing on the top.
good occasion to open up a Jack Daniel's Old No. 7 Tennessee Fine Whiskey.
It's a different kind of maple syrup.
It is a different kind of maple syrup.
It looks the same, but
Yeah,
gives a little more of a kick.
a little zing.
Oh yeah. We gotta support our brothers from Tennessee.
And how?
It's on.
This is the way to do it.
With an axe, preferably.
Split this wood like this and burns faster, quicker, hotter. Michelle, do not try this at home. Or at camp. I recharged it last night. Okay,
I'm exhausted.
we got a lot more. Let's go.
Smells like caramel popcorn. Got a little bit of stuff we gotta get rid of here. There we go. But it's supposed to warm up. Obviously you see all the snow melted from before, which is good. Sap started flowing. Today we got about maybe 3 gallons worth of sap, which isn't that much compared to the 10 gallons we got the week before out of all the trees that we tapped. So you can basically see how the weather affects the sap flowing through the tree. This is our last batch for this weekend, so a lot of work. Okay. This is our second round. It's a dark amber. We filtered it a number of times. There's a lot less debris in that than this one right here. That is just purely from, I think we boiled it a little too long. It's very thick. And it has some little bit of
Impurities.
yeah, not necessarily impurities, but I think it's the from the fire, because this is all done over the fire from a cast iron pot. So that was our evaporator. We did not use these pans as our evaporator. We just used those to warm them up. And we found that the cast iron over the fire gets it a lot hotter, a lot faster. It keeps stirring it. And this is the result we have. Now we've had a very, very, very mild winter. So I don't know if that's a result. I know the first tapping of the trees, usually your different grades of syrup that you get. Your first tap, when you boil it down, is a lighter amber in color. It's not as dark. I don't know if that's a result of the warm winter that we've had here. We've had a very warm winter. Or not, but either way, it is very syrupy and it's very sugary. And this is just awesome. It tastes so sweet. This is not log cabin syrup. This stuff you just need a bare minimum on your hot cakes, your pancakes. But I think we've boiled
I think that's 8 ounces right there, and we got about 4. So we boiled down today out of about 12 gallons or 13 or whatever. I don't know. We're guessing because of the.
We have about 13 ounces right now.
Yeah, we got about 13 ounces total, and we're boiling a little bit left over. We'll probably get about maybe 3 ounces out of that. All right, this is our last weekend with maple syruping, and we got Dave brought a nice sized cauldron here.
Family heirloom.
Family heirloom. You don't know how old it is,
Don't have a clue.
but
Need a
we
pro.
are
Need a photo.
we're in full production now. There you go. Look at that. Look how. That's nice. Now that's the way you want it. There's some stuff floating around in there, but that's okay. There, right on the. You could probably do this the whole month of March, but we're done. This is it. Camp Liberty, maple syrup.
Where I come from, the trees are tall and green, and the countryside is filled with hills and